It is November 15th, 2024, and this is your edition of Game on Hockey, your daily rip around the world of hockey in under 10 minutes or less. My name is Graham Mosimann. Game Over Hockey is presented by the Game Over Network, and if you head over to the Game Over Network main YouTube channel, you can find other great shows like Hyperdrive Hockey, where Max, Stephanie, and Kevin get you all up to date on the world of hockey in a really in-depth and cool and funny and also kind of nerdy and weird way. They really dive into the minutia in a way that we can't hear on Game On Hockey. So their show, new episodes come out Tuesdays and Fridays. You can find them wherever great podcasts are found or over on the Game Over Network main YouTube page. We'll have a new episode coming out today or maybe has already come out depending on when you listen to this, but you can find that wherever great podcasts are sold. Now, there's a lot of coaches that should probably be fired by the end of this weekend. But we got one story to get to before we get to the firing line. Pow, pow, pow. Or the hot seat. Ooh, my bottom, the pain. We haven't come up with a good name for this yet. But before we dive into coaches who should very much be fired, we start our episode in Edmonton. Connor McDavid last night becoming the fourth fastest player in NHL history to net 1,000 points. He also picked up point 1,001 on an overtime winner as the Oilers took down the Nashville Predators 3-2 in overtime. What might be more shocking about that particular game, aside from Connor McDavid getting points number 1,000 and 1,001, Darnell Nurse had a 3-point night with 2 goals and an assist, including the overtime winner. So congrats to you if you're the famed Darnell Nurse holder in your fantasy league. You're looking pretty good this morning. You're feeling pretty okay. Connor McDavid is likely to get points number 1,002 through 1,006 as the Oilers take on the Maple Leafs tomorrow in Toronto. That game at 7 o'clock Eastern. All right, let's talk about firings because there should be a lot of them. I'd call it the great state of Michigan, but we all saw how the election went. Detroit Red Wings are heading off on a little Western Conference road trip tonight as their next 3 games take them through Anaheim, California, and San Jose before they come back home against the New York Islanders. There is no reason, if you lose any of these games, maybe the one against the Kings we'll call okay. But if you lose to the Ducks tonight, there is absolutely zero reason that Derek Lalonde should be coming back on that plane to Detroit. He shouldn't. It shouldn't be happening. I am increasingly concerned about what the Yzerman plan is for that particular team because you have all the pieces, or at least a good chunk of them, and then really good supplementary parts, but you just haven't been able to add into it in a way that makes your team as competitive as it should be when you have one of the best American centers of all time in Dylan Larkin, when you have Moritz Seider. Lucas Raymond is amazing. You have the I wouldn't say the corpse, because I'm not dead, but Patrick Kane, still productive at his age, and Alex DeBrincat in the prime of his career. You have so many good pieces, and their supporting cast is really not great when your second-line center is a guy like JT Compher, who is awesome in the role he is set in, but you have too many players in Detroit playing too high up the lineup. Jeff Petrie is one of their most important defensemen, and I love Jeff Petrie as an Oilers fan. One of the worst trades we ever made was sending him away, but you have good enough players, this team should be better than it is, and if you lose to the Ducks tonight, Derek Lalonde, that Gru-looking guy, needs to head back onto Sportsnet because he was really good when he was doing playoff stuff. We head from Michigan to Pennsylvania, where please let it end for Mike Sullivan. He doesn't deserve this. He's won cups from that team. He has been a fan favorite in Pittsburgh for a lot of time. He is a good coach, and wherever he goes after this edition of the Penguins, I'm sure he'll be successful. But keeping him strapped to that Titanic of a hockey team is cruel and unusual punishment. News coming out earlier this week that Kyle Dubas, GM of the Penguins, who was on a 7-year contract, by the way, 7 years, has said everyone's available except Sidney Crosby, but everyone else is available. So if you can trade Erik Karlsson by somehow, some way, cool. Although Erik Karlsson's been just brutal this year. Heck yeah. If you can flip Rickard Rakell for something, good for you. But the Penguins have said they want young players back. But there's not enough teams with cap space to make that work. With Rickard Rakell specifically, dude's 31 years old. He's got 3 years left on his deal. And he is the team's leading goal scorer right now, tied with Sidney Crosby. He is on a $5 million deal, so at the most you can get rid of him for, you can send him out the door with half retained. He's still 31 years old with 3 years left on that contract. Ugh. Blah. I mean, Chris Letang has such an injury history. You don't want to pick him up with 6 years left on his deal. Brandon Rust has around 5 years left on his. Just let Mike Sullivan go and let this team play their little violins as they slowly sink into one of the many rivers that run through Pittsburgh. I've never been there. I don't know all the rivers that be. Fire Mike Sullivan by the end of the weekend. Save that man. And we finally wrap up with the hot seat. Ooh, ow, it hurts in Montreal. At some point, this team needed to turn a corner. You have some really great pieces, and none of them are playing well together. You have a lot of money invested in guys like Brendan Gallagher, who, if you want to talk about players that become corpses of who they were at one point in time, Brendan Gallagher is a great example. Nick Suzuki, awesome. Cole Caulfield, awesome. Uri Slafkovsky, awesome. Kirby Dach, their second-line center. He's there. He's fine. Mike Matheson's cool. Ken Gooley's cool. Everything else, fart. You can tell me that the Habs have won 5 games on the year. I honestly don't really believe you. That seems incorrect. They are currently rolling in with a negative 24 goal differential, having let in 70 goals on the season. Remember that weird point in time where people were like, yeah, Sam Montembeault, he might be the goalie for Team Canada at the Four Nations face-off. That's not happening. That is not happening. There's so many pieces here, and they're just clicking badly together, and you have a head coach who doesn't have a lot of experience in pulling them out of ruts. Doesn't have a lot of experience, period. He's been a coach for the Habs and the Habs only. So it might be the end of the line, and it honestly really should be for the Montreal Canadiens. We'll see how their next run of games goes, but oh boy. They lost 3-0 to Minnesota yesterday. Minnesota's a good team. They're playing Columbus tomorrow, and then the Oilers on Monday. Then they have a break, but they have the Golden Knights coming up on the Saturday after that. So, look, if you drop a game to the Blue Jackets tomorrow, fire St. Louis. Let him go be free. Reset against the Oilers. Hope for that dead cat bounce on the Monday game. And then you have a new coach with an entire week to help install a new system for the Golden Knights to come into the Bell Center coming up next Saturday. Those are the coaches you probably should be fired, plus some Connor McDavid news, which is always very exciting. That'll wrap us up here for Game on Hockey, a presentation of the Game Over Network. We have a couple big games across the network tonight. If you are a fan of the Calgary Flames, great news. Predators and Flames go tonight at 7 o'clock Mountain. That game will be live on Game Over Calgary after it's over, and you can watch the whole breakdown of the Flames, who are still in a bit of a rut, but are holding it together so far at 8-6-3 on the season. I'm Graham Mosimann. That'll do it for Game on Hockey, a presentation of the Game Over Network. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk on Monday.